World of the Demigod Series, Book 1, The Last Flight of the Lightning Heir, written by J. Wolfe, and read by Patrick Kelly Shannon. Date: 2015, July 26th. Fire and ash rained down as Marquise stared into the burning eyes of the giant volcano. It roared with rage, spewing molten lava that consumed buildings and homes without mercy. All around him, people screamed and ran, desperate to escape the oncoming tide of destruction. But he knew they wouldn't make it. As a demigod, Marquise was the only one who could stop it. The only way was to destroy the heart of the volcano from the inside. He clenched his fists, trembling at the thought, because he knew doing so would mean his death. But Marquise knew he had no choice. If he didn't act, this whole thing would reduce the entire world around it to ash and ruin. But just as he braced himself for what had to be done, the unthinkable happened. The volcano moved. A deep guttural rumble tore through the sky as the mountain's peaks split open. Two molten eyes burning like suns emerged from beneath rivers of lava. A jagged mouth cracked through the rock, lined with glowing obsidian teeth. The monster's breath was smoke and fire, each exhale pouring ash into the heavens like a death ritual. Then it stood. Massive legs of volcanic stone and magma lifted from the earth, dripping rivers of lava that scorched everything they touched. Cracks split the earth with each motion, towering arms sculpted from the blackened rock and pulsing with fire veins, dragged free from the mountainside. The creature wasn't just a volcano. It was a god of destruction awakened. It roared. The sound shattered windows for miles. Birds fell from the sky, the ground convulsed. A single stomp sent shockwaves tearing through the landscape. Buildings crumbled like sandcastles. Even from over a mile away, Marquise felt the tremor surge up through the soles of his feet and into his bones. He stood frozen, not with fear but with heartbreak. He looked down, eyes clouded with sorrow. He thought of her, the woman he loved. If he did what needed to be done, he wouldn't come back. But if he didn't, she wouldn't survive either. As Marquise grits his teeth, his eyes flare with fury. All around him, the world crumbles. The monster stomps through the landscape, flattening houses beneath its molten feet. Lava spews violently from its gaping mouth, searing the earth in fiery streams, while thick ash swirls in the air, turning day into dusk. Marquise looks to the sky, then closes his eyes. Electricity crackles beneath his lids. In that stillness, pure silence. Then he roars. "I am Marquise Johnson, demigod, son of Zeus." His voice splits the ash-choked sky. Suddenly a blinding burst of energy erupts from his back. Wings, vast and blinding white, tear into the air, arcing with divine electricity. Lightning dances across his skin like living veins of power. He thrusts out his palm with purpose. In a thunderous flash, a weapon spirals into existence. The sword of lightning forged from the storm itself. It crackles and pulses in his grasp, humming with ancient celestial wrath. As Marquise hovers high above the ruined land, his eyes lock onto the monsters, a set of deep volcanic pits glowing with molten rage. Everything else fades. The screams, the flames, the crumbling world, all drowned in silence as he centers his breath. Then he bolts forward, like a thunderbolt unleashed. He rockets through the sky, cutting the air like a blade drawn by the gods themselves. The sheer force creates shockwaves cracking through the ash-choked skies. But as he closes the distance, he sees it. The monster's massive hand, rising, ready to swat him from the heavens. It swings, but Marquise is faster. In a flash of motion, he ducks beneath the swipe, narrowly avoiding the crushing force. He spirals low, slipping beneath the beast's arm, then veers sharply and slices along the monster's volcanic side. Crack! The moment his blade connects, an explosion of blue and white electricity bursts from the point of impact, carving a glowing wound into the creature's magma-coated skin. The beast roars, a deep, ear-shattering tremor of fury and pain. Electricity crackles along the wound. Sparks glitter like falling stars illuminating the clouds of ash. And etched across the monster's body, a brilliant scar burns with Marquise's mark. A divine signature carved in lightning. But all that power only pissed the beast off. With a deafening roar, the volcano reared back and swiped again, this time with wild fury. Marquise darted away, barely despite his speed. The monster was massive. His hand alone was the size of a 2-story building. Marquise gritted his teeth. He knew the truth. If he didn't end this now, his constant flight would wear him down. And when he slowed, even for a second, the volcano would land a killing blow. So he launched himself upward, soaring straight toward the top of the monster's head, where a gaping crater spewed endless fire. But just as he neared the summit, a stream of lava jetted from the beast's molten crown, forcing Marquise to jerk back midair. The lava missed his skin by inches, but the searing heat didn't. He screamed. Steam hissed off his body. Blonde strands of hair crumbled and fell, singed by the intense blaze. Ash clung to his skin. Dirt plastered his wounds. He pushed forward, but the steam stunned him, blurring his vision. And that's when the monster struck. Wham! A titanic backhand connected with Marquise's body, sending him hurtling through the air like a meteor. He smashed through the upper floors of a building. Crack! Boom! Smash! Glass, steel, wood, all gave way as he crashed through. Then he burst out through the far side, spiraling into a nearby house, splintering its walls as he slammed into the floor with a sickening crack. Dust and gravel rained down. Chunks of the ceiling crumbled atop him. Marquise gasped. Blood spilled from his mouth. His body trembled, and for a moment, everything was still. Marquise stirred. At first only confusion, then clarity. The battle, the volcano, the pain. He groaned, trying to push himself off the ground, but an agony unlike anything he had ever felt ripped through his body. He winced, gritting his teeth. Then came a voice calm, seasoned, and sharp. "I wouldn't do that if I were you." Marquise froze. Blinking through the dust in the air, he slowly turned his head. An older black woman stood just a few feet away, completely unbothered, holding what looked like a warm mug in her hand. "Tea?" she offered, as if this were just another Tuesday. Marquise just stared at her, too stunned to respond. She narrowed her eyes, giving him the kind of look only grandmothers could. "I'd appreciate it if you drank some, considering you just blew a damn hole through my wall." Marquise glanced to the side. Yep, part of the roof was missing, and a whole section of wall lay crumbled behind him. He'd definitely come in like a missile. The woman didn't miss a beat. "Came in here like a bowling ball and my house the pin," she huffed. "I should pin you upside your head with this mug. But I'm nice." She extended the cup again, her tone sharp but motherly. "Now take the damn tea." Marquise reached for the cup and gave a respectful nod. "Thank you," he muttered, his voice hoarse with pain. He took a small sip, hot, earthy, comforting. It didn't heal his wounds, but it grounded him, at least for now. The woman stood across from him, arms folded, eyes sharp, watching. The silence grew heavy. Marquise cleared his throat, attempting to ease the tension. "I thought this kind of hospitality only happened in movies," he said with a pained smile. The woman huffed. "Yeah, well, this is a damn movie now, ain't it?" she snapped. "Except I ain't getting paid, and I sure as hell ain't picking up your big ass." She waved a hand at him, frustrated. "What are you, 6'3", 280 pounds? You came crashing through my roof like a damn meteor. I ain't got the spine for that." She pointed toward the hole in her ceiling and the cracked floorboards beneath him. "You already destroyed half my house, and now you sitting there sipping tea like this some kind of spa day. Meanwhile, that big-ass volcano monster's still out there stomping around like it owns the place." She leaned in slightly, her eyes narrowing. "I've been here too damn long to just up and leave. And now I got a lava-hurling creature trying to roast me alive, like I'm some marshmallow on a damn stick." She took a deep breath, steadying her voice. "So you're going to finish that tea, catch your breath, and then get your superhero ass back out there. so I ain't dying in my robe, and I sure as hell ain't letting this be the last day I pay property taxes. While Marquise finished his tea, the older woman stood silently, eyes never leaving him. The silence stretched, just enough to make him uneasy. He quickly downed the rest of the cup and stood. Pain surged through him, sharp and searing, but manageable. His demigod healing had started kicking in, knitting muscle and bone beneath ash-stained skin. He handed the mug back gently. "Thank you," he said with sincerity. The woman took it without blinking. "You're welcome, just win the fight. And you're forgiven for tearing through my damn roof." Marquise gave her a slight nod and turned to leave. Just before taking off, he looked back over his shoulder, smirking. "I'm not a superhero, by the way. I'm a demigod, son of Zeus." He spread his wings, ready to leap. But her voice cut in fast and hard. "One, I don't give a damn what you are, and two, I wouldn't care if you was my son. You better use that door and walk out. I'll be damned if you make another hole in my house." She turned away, muttering to herself as she disappeared into the other room. Big old balloon ass talking about flying. That boy knows he ain't bold enough to take out the roof twice." Marquise chuckled under his breath, and for once he did as he was told. He walked out the front door. Just before closing it behind him, he paused and called out, "Don't worry, you'll keep paying those property taxes." In the back room, he heard her laugh. "Stay safe out there, baby." Marquise smiled faintly as he pulled the door shut behind him. "My name's Marquise, by the way," he said. Just before the latch clicked, he heard her voice cut through the inside. "I don't give a shit what your name is." A pause. "But mine's Andrea." Marquise chuckled as his wings flared wide. She had fire. He liked that. With a powerful flap, he launched into the air, wind rushing past his face. He whispered to himself as he rose above the rooftops. "This isn't just for me. It's for my girlfriend. For everyone down there who can't protect themselves. And for Andrea." Back on the ground, Andrea shook her head and muttered with a smile, "Damn boy better not get himself killed." Marquise soared higher, faster, a bolt of living lightning cutting across the sky. The air bent around him as he pushed through with godlike speed. The horizon lit with orange glow. The destruction had spread far. The monster had moved miles while he was unconscious. "I must have been out longer than I thought," he muttered, scanning the burning landscape. Then he saw it. The volcano. Still stomping, spewing, destroying. He raised his hand to the sky, electricity surging through his veins. With a roar that echoed across the clouds, he summoned his power. Crackling energy erupted around him, and in a flash a shield of pure lightning formed in his left hand. It pulsed and flickered, bolts chaining out around it like a living storm. His body glowed with a divine power, blue and white light dancing across his skin. The air itself seemed to back away. Marquise roared a sound so powerful it shook debris from the sky. The volcano turned, lava dripping from its jagged maw, and let out a bellow of its own. The sky split and the battle resumed. The volcano inhaled, its massive molten chest swelling with pressure. Then it exhaled a tidal wave of lava, a fiery torrent blazing toward Marquise like the breath of a god. But Marquise didn't flinch. With one arm raised to the heavens, he called upon his father, Zeus. Lightning cracked through the sky. A thunderclap split the clouds. The bolt struck his hand with divine fury, and Marquise hurled it straight ahead. A blinding spear of lightning. Lava met lightning midair, and the world convulsed. The collision was cataclysmic. Buildings miles away trembled, glass shattered. The earth cracked open, but the volcano held steady, pressing forward, pouring more power into the stream. Marquise grimaced. The monster was winning the power struggle. He clenched his jaw. "Then I'll go through it." He recalled the lightning, shield glowing at his side, and dove headlong into the lava blast, using the shield as a buffer against the searing heat. Molten fire hissed and parted around him, but not completely. Bits of lava splashed against his skin, tearing through fabric, burning flesh. He screamed through the pain, but it didn't stop. Then he hurled the shield like a discus of lightning, a blinding projectile that sliced through the lava and soared straight into the volcano's maw. Boom! The beast stumbled backward, shrieking in pain. Marquise didn't wait. He launched upward, spun in midair, and delivered a massive hook to the side of the creature's head. It barely moved the monster, but the sheer force of it cracked the atmosphere and split the earth beneath them. The volcano swiped wildly, a wall of molten claws. Marquise tucked and dove, threading between its massive outstretched fingers, skin searing from the radiant heat as he passed through. He couldn't keep this up. He was burning out, literally. But there was one last move. He called forth his sword, the sword of lightning. With every ounce of energy left in him, he aimed not for the body, but for the swinging fist. He roared and hurled his blade, like a meteor of thunder. It connected. Boom! The volcano's entire fist exploded, shattering into a storm of volcanic rocks. Shards rained down over the city, smashing into buildings and tearing through earth. The creature screamed in anguish. It clutched its shattered arm and part of its melting face, falling to its knees in agony. But Marquise wasn't done. He blasted into the air once more, looped overhead, and dove straight down right into the gaping crater atop the beast's head. The volcano felt the entry, and a final burst of fury launched a beam of lava straight upward, aiming to roast Marquise alive. But he was ready. He tucked into the volcanic inner wall, shielding himself in a crevice. The lava roaring past him, close enough to feel it sizzle the edges of his being, but not enough to stop him. Not now. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the lava stopped rising. It had roared and churned for so long inside the volcano's core. Marquise had begun to think it would never cease. But now, at last, the flow calmed. The burning tide settled into a massive molten lake, its surface glowing red-hot, pulsing like the heartbeat of a beast. And in the center of it, he saw it. The heart. A towering blood-red stone embedded in a thick platform of obsidian rock that jutted from the center of the lava. It radiated power, its pulse echoing through the chamber. Marquise narrowed his eyes. That's it. Wings stretched wide, he took off from the crevice ledge and soared toward the island of blackened stone, the only solid ground in the sea of fire. The heat was unbearable, the air thick with ash and fury, but he stayed locked on target. Then the volcano struck. Without warning, a jet of lava spurted upward, like a viper leaping from the pit. It caught him mid-flight, clipping his leg in a burning flash of agony. The pain was instant. His foot was scorched. Flesh peeled, steam rose. The fabric of his boot disintegrated. Blood hissed as it met the molten air. His body spun, thrown off balance, and he crashed hard onto the stone platform, skidding across its surface, his ruined leg dragging behind him, leaving a bloody trail near the edge of the glowing heart. Marquise screamed, gritting his teeth against the agony. There was no time to falter, no time to heal. The heart pulsed faster. The volcano growled. Through the fire and pain, he lifted his hand skyward. Strike! Lightning obeyed. From far above, a bolt of white-hot energy slammed into the volcano's outer shell, sending tremors through the chamber. Rocks splintered, walls cracked, the beast roared, but Marquise knew it was only a moment of pain. It wouldn't be distracted long. He called again, breath ragged. Come to me. And in a flash of electric fury, his lightning sword screamed through the air, drawn from the heavens and slammed into his waiting hand. He stood, barely. Blood poured from his leg, dripping down his torn armor. The pain was distant now, because he was no longer thinking about himself. He was thinking about her, Elizabeth. Her red hair, wild and beautiful, her bright green eyes like a spring after winter, each freckle on her skin a memory, a reason to live. He would never see her again, but he could save her. He could save them all. He stepped forward. The stone beneath him trembled like a puzzle shifting into place. He stared up at the towering heart, its glow pulsing in sync with his breath. One final time, he whispered, For her. And with a roar of everything he had left, he plunged the sword into the heart. The volcano roared, but this time it was different from its usual cries of anger. This was something else, something strained, a sound of pain. Marquise let go of the sword, leaving it buried deep in the heart. His strength gave out. He collapsed onto the stone floor, eyes turning upward. From where he lay, he saw the volcano starting to fall apart from the inside. Cracks split along the chamber walls, glowing bright and wide. Large chunks of rock broke loose, crashing into the lava below. More fell with each passing second, jagged pieces raining down from the ceiling as thick clouds of steam burst upward, flooding the air. Marquise coughed, his lungs tightening. The heat was unbearable, the air too thick to breathe. He looked up to the crater's mouth, hoping to see the sky one last time. But that hope vanished. A massive slab of rock shifted above, then dropped. It slammed down over the crater's opening, sealing it shut. The light disappeared. And just like that, the sky was gone. Boom. 2 months later. The air was cool that morning. Elizabeth sat silently in her car parked in front of her home. Her hands clutched the steering wheel, knuckles pale, tears sliding quietly down her cheeks. She hadn't spoken much these past weeks. Not to friends, not to family. What was there to say? She finally stepped out, locking the door behind her. Dressed in all black, her eyes were distant, still red, still hollow. She didn't need GPS to guide her. She knew exactly where she was going. The drive into Manhattan was quiet. The once vibrant street still bore the scar of eruption. Glass replaced, buildings under repair, entire blocks sectioned off. But the heart of the city still beat. Slowly, gently. She pulled into the plaza. Some were gathered there. Some in silence, some leaving flowers, some just staring in awe. But Elizabeth walked alone, straight through the crowd, past the cameras, past the whispers. Her steps were heavy. She didn't stop until she stood beneath it and looked up. There he was. The towering statue of Marquise stood at the center of the plaza, carved from radiant stone. He was captured exactly as he had been in that final moment. His light armor cracked in places, his blonde hair windswept, and his massive white wings spread wide in defiance of the beast. In his hand, his signature lightning-forged sword pierced the ground, electricity etched into the sculpture like frozen light. Beneath the statue engraved into obsidian, Marquise, the winged thunder. Without him, we live. Elizabeth's lips trembled. Tears spilled freely now. She collapsed to her knees in front of it, hand over her heart as the weight of his sacrifice came crashing down all over again. Then, a soft, familiar hand rested on her shoulder. Elizabeth turned. An older black woman dressed in modest but elegant clothes gave her a kind, knowing smile. Her face was gentle, aged by experience but bright with quiet wisdom. "I knew him," the woman said softly. Elizabeth blinked. You did?" "Mm-hmm," the woman nodded. "He stopped by my house once, paid off my back taxes, saved my home." Elizabeth tried to smile, but the tears wouldn't stop. The woman reached out and gently wiped one from her cheek. "He was a good man," she said. "If it weren't for him, we'd all be gone." Elizabeth exhaled shakily, her voice barely above a whisper. "I loved him." The woman smiled warmly. "I can tell. I don't know what you were to him, baby, but I do know this. His sacrifice wasn't just for the world. It was for you too." Elizabeth's eyes welled again. "He loved you," the woman continued, "and he wanted you to keep going. That's why he made that choice, so please." Her hand squeezed Elizabeth's shoulder gently. "Keep moving forward. That's what he'd want." Elizabeth nodded slowly, still crying. But now, for the first time in 2 months, she smiled.